Hey everyone, just wanted to come on here real quick and talk a little bit about Jessica Kent again. There have been a few things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, but I wasn't able to address any of it because I was really busy and running around end of school stuff. You know how it is. Anyhow, I might address some of the things that happened a few weeks ago. One thing she did, she had another interview with Jason, and it was really interesting. A lot of word salad served, like literally an unlimited supply of word salad. She also sent my girl Nicole a cease and desist.
Dear Miss Nicole Dre, you are hereby notified to cease and desist. That's how I feel about that.
But something happened a few days ago that I just can't let go by without addressing. A creator by the name of Tracie Noelle FOIA'd Jessica Kent's paperwork. Upon pulling Jessica's paperwork, Tracie found out that Jessica was aware that she was pregnant when she was arrested. And there is one other thing, but we'll get to that in a minute. This is huge, and I'll tell you why. For those of you who don't know Jessica Kent other than the videos that I do on her, her biggest, video, the video that made her go viral and made her, gain hella subscribers, was her video on how she had her baby in prison. And all the details that are included in that story is her finding out when she was inside the prison and how she had to tell the baby's daddy in the prison, and he asked if it was his, and there's all these other details that are now false because finding out she was pregnant in this police report means that was all BS. If you go on over to Tracie Noelle's channel, she does like a side-by-side video of Jessica explaining her arrest in comparison to the police report. All kinds of BS, all kinds of inconsistencies. Just go check it out. Anyhow, with all this going on, Jessica goes to her TikTok and responds to all of this by going at Mindy. Remember Mindy? The one that Jessica made sign an NDA and then went on to expose all of her personal business and, told everybody to stop buying from her store and don't support this lady. She's a snitch. And, oh, speaking of snitches, we'll get to that in a minute. Hold on. Let me finish making my point and then we'll get to that. Anyhow, in the responses that Jessica made on TikTok, she made one night before last, basically, addressing this whole, I didn't remember if I said that or not, and if the police report says it, maybe I said it. I was out of my mind. I can't remember anything from that time. However, she remembers all these random details that are stated in multiple videos about her arrest, except for the fact that she was pregnant. Come on now. Because out of all the details that she spoke on that she remembered, the most important one she forgot? I don't get that. So in the two TikToks that she made responding to all this that has gone on this week, one of the videos is her sharing a bunch of conversations that her and Mindy had, trying to make Mindy out to be this horrible person. And then the other one is her addressing the arrest and the pregnancy. And in doing the one on the arrest and the pregnancy, she kind of exposed herself for yet another lie. Let me play you a clip.
Is saying that when I was arrested, I said I was pregnant. But in every video I've ever shared, I say I found out I was pregnant in county jail. So I don't know what I said when I was arrested 11 plus years ago at 4 o'clock in the morning, high on meth and pills. I have no idea what I said. I still haven't even read my police report, actually, because Arkansas only gave me my book and sheet, and I never asked for the motion to discovery because the old me got the motion to discovery to see who snitched on me, and that I would handle that after I got out. The new me wanted to be fucking different, to not think about that shit, and to move on, to retire from that life, so I haven't even seen my own motion to discovery. Anyway, no. If I was not pregnant, I would have signed 10, because I would have done 5. I can do 5. But I was pregnant, I had to fight harder. So I said, no, I'll go to trial. I remember walking back to my cell that day thinking, did you just make a horrible fucking mistake? I also want to put in here that my lawyer would not give me my motion to discovery. The only reason I know who was in my motion to discovery was because Jason Forrester got my paperwork from my co-defendant to make sure that I didn't tell and I was legit and that he could befriend me and trust me. So Jason Forrester saw my paperwork. I never did. They wouldn't give me my motion to discovery, and I begged for it. I asked and I asked and I asked and I asked.
I begged for it. I asked and I asked and I asked and I asked.
They would not give it to me.
So in that first clip I showed you, you saw how she said, I usually would ask for my motion to discovery, but, this was the new Jessica because I was pregnant and I didn't want to deal with all that and I was trying to be a new person. Well, the clip from 2019 says totally different. I'm actually kind of shocked that she didn't yank that video, but I guess she couldn't really because all the right people have recorded it, and I guess there's no point in doing that now, right? But while we're on the subject of yanking down content, earlier I was talking with somebody in Nicole's chat, and they were talking about the dynamic between her baby daddy and Jason, and something that she had said in the first video that she ever made about Jason and how they met and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go watch that video and I'm going to clip the inconsistencies between Jason's accounts and her accounts. Because I was going to make a video about that, but I never got around to it. But a few months back when I made my first Jessica video, I made a unlisted playlist of all of the Jessica and Jason content, videos he made on his channel and videos she made on her channel. So I went over to my playlist so I could get that video. Guess which video was missing from that playlist? I wonder why she privated that video. Kinda weird, right? That video is definitely relevant to the whole timeline of Jason and Jessica and all of, all the arrests and all that stuff. So the other thing I was going to talk about regarding snitching was that when Tracie FOIA'd the police report, she also FOIA'd the motion for discovery. The police department sent her the police report, but then they sent her an email denying her FOIA for the motion for discovery because there is a confidential informant involved in the case. Obviously, they're not going to name the confidential informant, however, people are speculating. And I've been waiting for Jessica to respond to this, and she finally did. Let me play you a clip.
So on September 27th of 2011, I sold to ACI, and that is why ACI is in my case. On that same day, my co-defendant also sold to ACI, so it's difficult to remember, but I believe we were in the car together. I might have handed the dope back to the chick that was in the car. I'm not really sure though, but we both have the same date for delivery, so that's what I'm going to assume. I know a lot of you don't believe me, but this is the first time I've seen the police report, and it says that I said I was pregnant and craving things. I probably said that to get out of going to jail, was very irritated and reluctant to answer shit. I wonder why. Shut the fuck up when cops ask questions. I'm actually really glad that this got found because I've never seen it, and I will not pull my motion of discovery. I don't need to know who my CI is.
And I will not pull my motion of discovery. I don't need to know who my CI is.
I'm not in that life. I don't want to know. There's a difference between a snitch and a confidential informant. A confidential informant will be protected because they are being paid to confidentially inform on people. If you and I get arrested together right now and you tell them I have drugs so that you could get out of it, you're just a straight up snitch, and that will be in everything. My police report, I can see it very easily. But unless I go to trial, I'm not going to know who a confidential informant is. And I took a plea.
Every time you show your paperwork, Mindy, too. The whole thing. Full disclosure.
Every time you show your paperwork, Mindy, too. The whole thing. Full disclosure.
Now let me play you a clip from back in January when Jessica was going over Mindy's paperwork.
So her entire platform is a lot about her not being a snitch and how everyone else is a rat and how the feds are horrible and how she did this and that. And she's talked about it so much that I pulled her paperwork, and I'm going to share it with you now. So it's paperwork day, and if you guys want me to share my paperwork, to be fair, I got you. I've actually done it before. I'll just repost it because I'm lazy.
So it's paperwork day, and if you guys want me to share my paperwork, to be fair, I got you. I've actually done it before. I'll just repost it because I'm lazy.
You know what's funny is I remember back in January thinking, I don't remember her ever posting her paperwork. And why would she have taken it down if she did? You know what I mean? I know she's been arrested before and has other paperwork, but she's only been to prison once. So it wouldn't make sense to be talking about her Stinson County or her, city jail arrest or whatever. So that kind of seems like that's another lie. She never posted her paperwork. Supposedly, she's never even seen her paperwork. And Jason thinks he's really funny coming and telling Mindy to post her paperwork in the full. Didn't Jessica already do that? Oh, yeah, and let's not forget this clip right here.
Like, I promise you with 100% certainty that she's telling the truth. This is all completely real. She has her paperwork, her motion of discovery. All of this shit really happened. And
Right, but I promise you with 100% certainty that she is telling the truth. This is all completely real. She has her paperwork, her motion of discovery. All of this shit really happened.
You guys remember that? That was funny, huh? She told everyone that she was 100% sure that Mindy was telling the truth and it was legit and she saw the paperwork and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, 8 months to a year later, she was a snitch. She got suspicious, so she finally pulled her paperwork. Found out she was a snitch. Okay, come on now. And also Jessica turning her nose up at pulling people's paperwork like she hasn't done it before.
So it's paperwork day.
Anyways, the other thing I wanted to address for a couple minutes was the Reese Part 2 video. Before that FOIA was put out regarding the confidential informant, Mindy and other people were calling Jessica and Jason out for talking to law enforcement regarding Reese's situation with the gun and his arrest. Basically calling them out for, kind of being snitches. Then Jessica responded with, she's a civilian, and, when you're in an abusive situation, don't ever be afraid to call the police, which is true. And she implied that Mindy was scaring victims of DV to not call law enforcement. I'm not saying that Jessica was not in an abusive situation with Reese because I believe that she was. However, in the situation where he was arrested, I don't understand how she was in danger in that situation. She provoked that whole entire thing. Her and Jason sent some guy that he had only met on video chat before down to his house at what was it, 1 a.m. or something like that, to go quote unquote check on him. And the guy comes in and says, Jason sent me? How is she in danger in that situation? Why should she be on the phone with law enforcement? Why were they sending people to his house? Nothing about that situation seems right. I think she knows damn well that no one was shaming her for dealing with law enforcement regarding her DV situation. However, this was not a domestic violence situation with her and Reese. She provoked this situation, sent somebody to his house in another state to get him arrested, basically. People were also calling out Jason for not living up to the code he claims he lives by. No one was telling people that are victims of a DV relationship to not call law enforcement. That's ridiculous. Anyways, that whole Part 2 Reese video was a mess. Jason was all over the place. It wasn't any better than the interview she took down to him. It was pretty bad. Like Jason saying that a mutual friend of theirs informed him that Reese was using the entire time he was with Jessica. And Jessica was like, oh my god, really? And then down in the comments, I see her saying that they don't even know if that is true or not. One other random thing I wanted to bring up, though, I thought it was so funny how she was talking about a standard, like, if you drive a stick, you're like little Betty Badass, like, she wanted to make sure everybody knew that she prefers driving a stick. Like the cop's not gonna know the right pockets to hit. Like it's a 5.0 or something. Girl, it's a Kia Optima. Sit down. It's not that powerful. All jokes aside, I'm going to say this in closing. I feel like Jessica was comfortable in lying about her pregnancy, amongst some other things regarding her case, because she knew that there was a confidential informant involved in her case, and that the motion for discovery wouldn't be publicly available, or publicly accessible, I should say, I guess. Anyhow, I don't think that she knew that the police report was separate from that. And she might not have remembered that she shared with the cop that she was pregnant, but she obviously did, because what would the odds be of her just using pregnancy as an excuse and then a couple days later finding out she was pregnant in jail? Come on now. She banked on her paperwork not being publicly accessible, just like she banked on having Mindy sign an NDA. She felt comfortable with Mindy signing that NDA. She felt like she could go out and say just about anything and Mindy couldn't respond. Well, she made a mistake there because Mindy didn't care. And Mindy was able to debunk a lot of things that Jessica said. Honestly, at this point, if I was Jessica, I would just stop responding because she just keeps making it worse. Oh, and one more thing. If Reese, you're listening, give her back her baby books. Like, Jessica might be a lot of things. She might be a liar. She might be a jerk. But give her back her baby books. Anyways, I think I'm going to end it here. I hope you guys liked the video. Love y'all.